What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. It is time for another episode of the Agents of Fandom podcast. I am your host, TJ Zwarich. We got a big week of trailers. It was the Super Bowl last week, and as always, the upcoming movies of the year, not all the biggest movies, but a lot of the biggest movies dropped trailers to get their movie in front of as many eyes as possible. And we're going to be breaking them all down. Today, joining me to do so, I got my guy Sean Mott, Metalcore Nerds. How you doing, Sean?
Doing great, man. Happy to be here. I don't know. I feel special when I'm on here, when the stars align. By stars, I mean schedules, and I get to join you on this podcast. It's nice. So very happy to be here. Very stoked to talk about this.
A little bit more than usual, because typically how my brain goes scheduling this podcast, I go, all right, I'm gonna have Sean on with me, or I'm gonna have Jam on with me. Because if I'm free in the if I'm free in the evening, I know Jam's got my back. He's gonna be joining me with the pod. If I'm free during the daytime, I know Sean's gonna be joining me. And then Damon, if he's traveling, he can't come. If he's not traveling, he's typically good for either evening or daytime. But it's rare we get a pod with both Sean and Jam. Jam, how you doing, my friend? What's up?
It's crazy. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say the same thing. I was like, it's rare that I get to pod with Sean. So pleasure to be here as always. I'm excited to talk about the stuff that we're here to talk about. And great to see you, Sean. It's been a little minute.
It's great to see you, man. Seriously.
Before, I do want to know what you're watching from both of you. But before we get to that, if you are watching us live or after the fact on YouTube, hit the like button. Help us grow this community, make some new friends. Tell your friends about the Agents of Fandom. Tell them to follow us on YouTube. Wherever you get your podcast, you can find us on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. And we got a lot of fun stuff coming over the next couple weeks that you want to make sure you're not missing out on. We are going to be having our Paradise podcast, myself, Jam, and Ryan. We're going to be talking Invincible, myself, Sean, and Fat Thor, with Jam joining us as well whenever he can. We're going to be talking Daredevil Born Again. Damon and I loading back up for that one, assuming he is in town, able to record. Plus, next week, we're going to be talking about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms after the final episode airs. Plus, tomorrow, as we're recording this on a Monday, and on Tuesday, we're going to be talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu. I almost said Goku, then added Grogu, past Grogu, and you get $200. Mandalorian and Grogu we'll be talking about on Tuesday, because that they announced today that their next trailer will be dropping on Tuesday as well. Before we get into any of today's trailers, Jam, what you been watching?
Man, I got to highlight something I just seen over the weekend, which is Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. It is so good, man. I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. It's very universal concepts, a lot of different concepts converging into one main narrative, but peak comedy. I mean, I laughed the whole way through. I don't think there was a scene that went by that I didn't laugh. Very insightful, kind of a nice look in the mirror moment with technology and AI and everything and how it is. I highly recommend going to check that movie out. But besides that, all of my anime stuff, Knights of the Seven Kingdom. Been watching a lot of Dragon Ball still with the lady, because she's never seen it. So we kind of trying to catch up to get to Z, and then when Super comes out, gotta pull up my watch list here. I think that might be it. Abbott Elementary is on a hiatus, which I was talking about it on my pod. Is wild that it's on the spring break hiatus, because it is literally Black History Month. So you would think that that would be airing right now. But one thing I wanted to highlight that is back is Cross Season 2 on Prime Video. Love Aldis Hodge. My hot take is I know the internet wants Damson Idris as T'Challa Black Panther in the MCU, but I would love Aldis Hodge as Black Panther. And if James Gunn does not call him back to play Hawkman, I would actually like him to be Black Lightning, because he has it. He just got it. He's just got it. But that's pretty much what I've been
He does
watching.
ooze Jefferson Pierce, like a young Jefferson Pierce. I can see that for sure.
Even like with the younger daughters, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what I've been watching though.
I can see that. I can see that for sure. I've been watching a ton lately as well. Talking about it just in chat. Shout out to live chatters who are showing up. I apologize. I don't know how to pronounce that first person's name, but we got AF hanging out with us. We got Marie Doneasy, my guy from the Roto Grinders shows, the fantasy sports shows that I do, coming over, hanging out with us as well. And there's some talk about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and I have actually watched it. I finished it. I watched all 6 episodes of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I watched the first 4 when they were on TV, and then I had the screeners. And so I got to go in and watch the last 2 right after I finished episode 4. So I finished the series, and it gave me the Game of Thrones itch. I thought, let's do it. It's time. I was so sick last weekend, like this past weekend. And so I was just like in bed by myself, nothing to do. And I had just finished A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. So I was like, well, I don't think there could possibly be a better time for this, because I've been sitting there thinking like, it's a big commitment. Like, I don't want it to kind of just take over, but I was sitting in bed. I didn't have a game to play. I didn't want to move. I felt so terrible. And I was like, all right, it's Game of Thrones time. Let's do it. I have already binged my way into season 2. I'm on season 2, episode 4. And so I've just been going because I haven't had a lot I've been able to do other than just lay in bed and be sick. And so fully dove into the Game of Thrones experience. I also got a chance to finish His and Hers on Jam's recommendation, Netflix show with Tessa Thompson and John Bernthal. Enjoyed it quite a bit. I will say I didn't care enough about the relationship between the 2 main characters to be invested in it throughout the series. Like, you find out more about it, and I'll keep it spoiler free, but they're a divorced couple involved in this show, and there's some trauma that is making them act terribly towards each other. But because you don't see their lives really before the trauma, you just see them being terrible together. It's tough to invest in actually wanting them to get back together at any point in this show. Crazy twists in it, especially towards the end of the show, though. I really recommend His and Hers if you are a fan of a murder mystery, especially like a creepier murder mystery. Love John Bernthal. Anything John Bernthal's in, I just really always want to watch. And I love Tessa Thompson as well, but I will say, didn't like her American accent. Did not like her accent in this. I just couldn't dive in. Like, it just sounded weird to me. It was floating in and out. Wasn't a fan of that. Let's see, is there anything else? I had a couple rewatches of like some classic movies that I love, like The Nice Guys, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, but I think that's for the most part it. It's been Thrones, the original series, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and then His and Hers I got through as well. Sean, how about you? Or Jam, you got something?
I was gonna say it's funny that you feel that way about Tessa Thompson's American accent, because I felt that way about John Bernthal's country accent. I felt like he was in and out with it. I was like, man, this guy is too like East Coast sounding. Got that Punisher like effect too much for it. So I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but it was one of those things that I was like, I just love John Bernthal being Punisher John Bernthal so much that I was in. I was like, all right, fine. And he's not like that type of character in this, but there's times that he's like, let me tell you something. I'm mad. I'm a cop and I'm mad. And it's like, there he is. Sean, how about you? What you been watching?
So the normal weekly stuff, I have been watching A Night of Seven Kingdoms, Industry, The Pit. Also been watching Jujutsu Kaisen, but don't hate me, Jam, but I watch the dub. So I've been waiting for the dub. So I'm a few weeks behind, but caught up on that as far as what's been out, and I've been really loving the season. It's so good. Also been in a very big Scrubs hole. I'm trying to catch up to what eventually will be the reboot. So I don't know. I'm just like addicted to Scrubs right now. But I did watch 2 movies that just came on streaming this past weekend. perfect time for Valentine's Day because they're both love stories. One is Eternity that you can now watch on Apple TV, which is it was in a co-production with A24. So that's why it's not an HBO Max and why it's Apple. It's an Apple movie that they did in collaboration with A24. And that stars Elizabeth Olsen, Miles Teller, and it's basically it reminds me a lot of the TVA in Loki because it takes place in this place called the junction point that is between death and your eternity. And you arrive at this place, and there's this whole bureaucracy of people trying to make sure you go to the right eternity. And once you pick your eternity, you can't go back. And you see people trying to like escape their eternity for whatever reason, if they get bored with their eternity or whatever. And you see them like kind of get taken away by security and things like that. But the big clincher and the whole heart of this story is that, and when you are in eternity, the movie starts as them as old, the couple as old people, Miles Teller and Elizabeth Olsen's character as old people. See, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, Elizabeth Olsen is incredible. She's an incredible actor anyway, but she is very, very good in this movie. And you go in eternity as the happiest version of yourself. So they end up being younger versions of themselves. But the kicker is that Elizabeth Olsen's had a past husband who died in the war. So she goes in this eternity, and they're both old. They both die. So you think they'll go with her current husband, who is Miles Teller, but her other husband has been waiting in this limbo state for her for 67 years. So she has to choose who she wants to spend eternity with, and that's the whole crux of the movie. And it's a beautiful movie that totally dives into love, different types of love, how things in your life as you grow can change that love for better or for worse. And I highly recommend it. It didn't get talked about a lot, but it's a really, really good movie. I hope people talk about it now that it's available in a streaming service. And now Apple is finally getting some movies that are up to par with their TV series. They have F1, they have this, they're in a good new trajectory compared to their other stuff. But the big difference is those two movies were theatrical release. They weren't straight to the streamer movies. And I think there's a correlation between the two. And the other one is it's on Peacock. It's called Song Sung Blue. Kate Hudson and Hugh Jackman. Kate Hudson got nominated for Best Actress for this. And I thought it was a Neil Diamond biopic, but it's not. It's based on a true story about Hugh Jackman's character, and Kate Hudson, who they make apparently it was like a very popular Neil Diamond tribute band. And it's their story of that. And what I did not expect is that this movie would absolutely wreck me. And levels I did not think possible for a movie like this. But it's a beautiful, devastating movie that I think like the big thing is like if you have a dream, no matter how old you are, whatever, go for that dream and don't give up on it until you get it. But wow, that movie shocked me so much. But those are the big things I've been watching. Those two movies, was not expecting those to be great watches, but here we are.
I've heard really good things about Eternity over the last couple days, just as people have started watching it, people coming in and really, really liking it. We have our guy Carlos, who's always in chat. He saw it the other night, and he dropped a comparison that I haven't been able to pop out of my head, and said that Miles Teller is kind of I'm paraphrasing, he didn't use this term, but the love child of Richard Gere and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And I can't unsee it. It's literally like if you just combine those two guys together, that kind of is what Miles Teller looks like, acts like, sounds like. And so saw that comparison, thought it was very interesting. Definitely looking forward to going out and checking out Eternity, because like AF said, he really enjoyed it in chat. He's shouting out Davine Joy Randolph, who he said had a great performance in it. Definitely one that I want to go check out as well. A lot of things that we're going to be talking about in this show that I'm going to be wanting to check out. And I think we may as well start diving into some of the big trailers. And if there's something that comes out that has come out in the last week and you want us to talk about it as well, drop us in chat. Let us know. And if there's something you want us to cover in the future, while you're hitting that like button and subscribing, you can also go follow us on socials. Let us know there at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter. But a few different projects that I want to talk about today. And honestly, if there is anything I didn't put on the list that you guys saw and were like, this looks sick, I want to talk about it, throw that in as well. But the big 6 that I kind of wanted to cover: Project Hail Mary, Supergirl, Disclosure Day, Hoppers, The Adventures of Cliff Booth, and then we had a TV show that I kind of forgot about. I'm going to be honest, I kind of forgot existed. And then the trailer dropped, the marketing campaign started for this show, and it looks cool. It looks pretty cool, and that's Spider-Noir. And so we'll talk about that here as well. I was thinking we'd spend some time talking about the controversy that was the Mando and Grogu Super Bowl spot. But the fact that we're actually getting a full trailer tomorrow makes me just feel like let's just leave that conversation until tomorrow. We can talk about it then. It was one of those things that, like, if at the Super Bowl, if you were expecting a Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, it was super disappointing. We got a quick little bit of them doing a spoof of a Budweiser ad, and it was like 15 seconds long, and that was it. It was very disappointing. In general, if you had no idea anything Mandalorian and Grogu was coming, absolutely no reason at all to be mad about it. It's just a spoof of a beer commercial on the Super Bowl with Mandalorian and Grogu. Sure, fine, cool. It is what it is. It's just a matter of being disappointed that we wanted something more. But that something more is coming this week, so we'll talk about it when we see it. First one I want to dive into, because I think this is probably all of our most anticipated of this list that we are talking about today. I could be wrong. Sean, I can't remember if you have Cliff Booth or Disclosure Day above it. Jam, you may have Supergirl above it. I might have Supergirl above it too. I'm not sure. But it's arguably the number one for all of us, and that is Project Hail Mary. I started reading the book. I'm about halfway through. And so I will say, when watching this trailer, I was like, damn, they gave this second trailer. Like, we had talked about it before when we talked about the first trailer. And Sean, we were kind of on opposite sides of this. I was saying, like, they shouldn't have showed us that alien meetup. And you were like, man, there's so much more in this. Didn't matter that they showed us this. And it was kind of like, I don't think it's that big of a deal either way, but we felt a little bit opposite sides. This trailer, the second one, the Super Bowl one, I actually watched it for the first time today. I hadn't seen it the day that it came out. I thought they showed us way too much in this trailer. Like, especially when I watched this and Disclosure Day trailer back to back. Now, I recognize that those are two totally different trailers. This is the final trailer right before the movie starts. Disclosure Day was the first teaser. And so the first teaser is never giving you anything about the plot. This, to me, and I'm admittedly biased because I'm halfway through the book, and what almost the entirety of the trailer was like what I'm pretty sure is the next 2 chapters for me. Like, this entire trailer to me seemed like it was pretty much a 10-minute middle segment in the book, and that's what they're showing us a lot here. But I didn't like how much of the plot that they showed us, because a lot of the excitement about the first half of this book is unraveling what the hell is going on. And I feel like we kind of already know most of it based on these first 2 trailers. Sean, you read the book as well. What were your thoughts on this second trailer?
I think the only people who have said this is giving too much away is people who have read the book. And you know why? Because you have context. People
I don't even yet. It was like I'm halfway through the book, and it gave me so much more information that I didn't even have yet.
Yeah, but I don't think it's plot specific information at all. Like, you don't even know the why of this movie yet.
In this trailer, they revealed that the sun is dying, and that our sun and the alien sun is dying, and that's why they need to team up.
Yes, but a big part of the setup of the whole movie in the first act is why, and you do not know that.
Yeah,
and the big thing, which you have not gotten to, is why is that character there? Because they've made it clear not made it clear, but if you've read the book and watched the trailer, they talk about how he's a teacher. So why is the teacher in space? And that's a big thing. You haven't even got to that yet. You won't get to that for a minute.
Oh, unless there's more, they have fully explained that to where I am in the book, unless there is another reveal that hasn't got there yet.
Yeah, there's a big reveal about that you definitely haven't got to, because I think it's in the the like last fourth of the movie or book, or maybe
Ooh,
last
exciting.
third of the book. There's just a lot more. And I don't know, like Rocky and Grace, like that is the story. Like like you were saying, it's like, oh, you don't meet him until halfway through the book. And I was like, still, it's like that's the story. That is why this book is so beloved. And I think that's what's going to make it work for the movie too, is their relationship and everything like that. And I think a lot of people are surprised of how the story is presented, because obviously you can't give away how the story is presented in a trailer, especially the way, if you've read the book, you understand what I mean. But and that's another thing too that I think is going to keep people really engaged throughout the movie. I just think there's so much more to this that they haven't given away, I guess. I don't know. And there's so much more of his journey of like, why is he alone? Things like that that they haven't given away. Because from the trailer, it makes it look like it's a solo mission, just him, and then he ends up finding this alien. You know what I mean? And that's not the case if you've read the book at all. So I just feel like there's so much more that hasn't been let on that will be revealed through the movie. That's just my take. I can understand why some people feel differently. I just think there's a lot more to tell than what's being let on. I don't think they could have kept Rocky out of the promotion stuff. For one, I think it's kind of a hard sell, because from first glance you're like, oh, this is Interstellar but funny, which kind of, yes, it is. In a lot of cases it is Interstellar but funny. But they need to sell this too. I've said this a million times. Trailers aren't for people like us. They aren't. We're already going to go. It doesn't matter what they show us. It's for the general audience. So they need to sell a person who doesn't know what this is, doesn't know it's a book, maybe doesn't care about Ryan Gosling. They need to show them why they're going to this movie. And I think that's why they're showing what they're showing, to get people invested and to get people going. And I know there's been a lot of debate of like, oh, this is going to flop and it'll be a great streaming movie. I don't know. I really think this is going to be a surprise hit of the year. I don't think it's going to be as big as some of the other movies this year. Like, I don't think it's going to hit $1 billion or anything. But I think if it delivers the way I feel like it's going to deliver, because like tonally, visually, they're knocking all that stuff out of the park. The team behind it is incredible. I know the author himself was involved with the movie as well, which is a big plus sign. And he even like came out with this statement being like, it's incredible. What these guys pulled off is amazing. And I couldn't imagine it being any better than it is, which again, authors have said that and it turns out that the movie isn't as good. But, and I've been very vocal on the podcast lately. Like, I'm a book is better guy a lot of the time. And I think this movie is going to deliver just how the book delivered. I love the book. I think it's phenomenal. It's a great story. So I'm hopeful that this is going to deliver. And I think the word of mouth will help carry this kind of movie and make it be a success in the box office. But we'll see. Time will tell. I've been wrong about box office stuff before. So
I think, I honestly think the people who are saying it's going to flop are having two totally different conversations than the one that we're having right now, and I think it's essentially, we're saying pretty close to the same things, just in different contexts. And that's, if you're going to compare the box office, not the quality, the box office of Project Hail Mary to Avengers Doomsday, Spider-Man Brand New Day, The Odyssey, and Dune, it's flop. It's not going to do as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to reach those heights of financial performance at the box office.
It could do well as Dune, I think. Dune doesn't do that crazy. They only do like 500 million or like they do like
the last one did 7 though, and so I feel like this could be the, if it just keeps going up, we don't know. Like, maybe it drops down, maybe it goes up, because I think a lot of people prefer the second one over the first one, and so I think that could have a lot more people invested in it. But I think if we're comparing it to Disclosure Day, Supergirl, these other Adventures of Cliff Booth, these other ones that we are talking about today, is that straight to Netflix? Adventures of Cliff Booth, or is that a theater?
It's a Netflix movie, but I have a big feeling it'll get a pretty big theatrical release compared to other Netflix movies. Yeah. Maybe more similar to Frankenstein, but maybe bigger, because Tarantino is the biggest hater of straight to streaming stuff. And I know he's just the writer, so he doesn't have as much probably say in it, but I think that's going to get a much bigger theatrical release than most Netflix movies.
The one thing I want to say about the adaptation of it all is that the one reason I do think this could make for a phenomenal movie adaptation is there is a lot of clear, time-consuming stuff in the book that can just be so easily cut off because this book is filled with science and math jargon.
Lots of it.
Filled to the brim. Like, just so much equations and shit like that happening that is just like spoken out. But Jam, you're coming at this from a different perspective. It's fun because Sean has read the book. I have read half the book. You have not read the book. And so we were all in like total different stages of it, with me right in the middle. What were your thoughts on this second trailer? This was already one of your very most anticipated movies of 2026. How did this trailer affect that? What were some of your favorite moments?
So I always like to use this analogy because you've read the book or half of the book, and Sean's read the whole book. I always like to say I think of a lot of this stuff like when I'm reading comics, right? I know because comics aren't exact adaptations, but I look at it as like my analogy is like a roller coaster. I know that height is coming and I know that big drop is coming, but that doesn't take away from my experience from enjoying that roller coaster. And so I when it comes to spoilers or leaks and rumors, things like that, that's kind of like my mentality around all of this. But watching this second trailer, I've already said it like when I was texting you guys, I feel like this was already my most anticipated movie for besides like our fandom stuff like Supergirl, Star Wars, Avengers, things like that, Spider-Man. But when I seen this second trailer, it kinda just reconfirmed everything I felt like this has the potential to be the best sci-fi movie of all time. And I know Interstellar is like the pinnacle, but I feel like what Sean said, like it's the like Interstellar is the peak, right? But what Sean said is kinda what I felt like from this movie. This is like the funny Interstellar. And I think that right there is what's gonna gravitate like or is what's gonna grasp the general audience because when it comes to a movie like Interstellar, right? That's more of like you're a cinephile person. Like you go into movies with the Academy Award viewpoint or like the critic viewpoint. Like you just want that depth within movies. General audiences don't do that. Like I could tell you right now, my lady's not going into the movies trying to pick apart the movie and the cinematography about the movie or how great person's performance was or the pacing and the writing. Like she's not doing that. She's just there at the movies for a good time. So when I think about this movie specifically, I'm like, yes, it is very Interstellar like, but it's going to hit the things that the general audience needs. And that's why I feel like it has the potential to be one of the best sci-fi movies of all time. Because at the end of the day, people just want to go to the movies sometimes to have fun, enjoy themselves, you know? And I think this is going to do both. It's going to have great visuals, great writing from a great story adaptation, a great performance. I mean, just from the trailer, it looks like Ryan Gosling is going to be a Academy Award nominated just for this film to me off of that trailer. So I think it's gonna have everything, and then you throw a little CGI alien in the mix, like James Gunn, you know, and it's always a
He's a
fun
puppet.
time. So
He's a
a
puppet.
puppet, it's
He's
like
a puppet.
practical.
Yep.
Oh,
Big year
that's
for
even better.
puppets.
That's even
Big year
better
for
for me.
puppets because that dragon in
Thank
Night
you
of the
for
Seven
puppets.
Kingdoms looks so fucking good. It looks so good.
I
The
think this
actual
is just
puppet dragon?
Yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
actual
He
puppet
doesn't.
dragon. Like that looks like a real little dragon.
It's a good
Big year
puppet.
for puppets. We got Mandalorian and Grogu. We got
Yeah,
Grogu.
Grogu.
Like, I'm all for practical. I love that. So my favorite stuff is usually like the James Gunn of it all. Like I mix practical with CGI. Like I love
Mhm.
that. But the fact that it's a puppet is even better. I think I think when you throw stuff like that into a story that has a lot of emotion, has a lot of depth to it, it's what really can captivate audiences, especially general audiences. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I really have high hopes for it. And I also agree with Sean. I think it's going to do really well at the box office. I'm leaning in between like 3 to 400 million. I don't know what the budget was, but that's kind of like what I believe this movie can do.
150.
And
That was the
so I
budget.
mean, 300, they're already doubling their revenue. You know, like well, maybe with marketing and all of that, but neither here nor there. That's my like my statement there. I'm gonna stick with like between 3 to 400 mil. That's what I think this movie can do
That's what
because
I
it's
think too.
yeah. And what is it? It's
I
next
think that's
month,
solid.
right?
Yeah.
And,
Like a
and,
month
and
away.
nothing else is coming out around that time, like to
That's what I was
take
gonna
the
say. It has the advantage of being first. Like
Yes.
it doesn't matter even if it's like it's not like people will have to, there are all these movies coming out in the summer that are so similar, so people will have to choose which ones they want. It's not that. Like, Spider-Man Brand New Day is a comic book superhero movie. The Odyssey is a fantasy historical piece, and Disclosure Day is a Spielberg sci-fi movie. And so they are very different, but people have finite amounts of money. People can't, not everybody has access to like a, I don't even remember what the Regal or whatever your guys's theaters are called over there, like the
Pass.
unlimited passes and things like that. Like people like us will have access to things like that and will do that and go to all these movies, but the general public isn't going to 10 movies a year. They're going to go to 2, 3, max 4. And so the biggest benefit Project Hail Mary has is it's the first one. It is the first blockbuster of 2026. And so with that being the case, I think a lot of people are going to, like, as long as word of mouth is positive, which I think it is going to be, I think a lot of people are going to go see this movie and it's going to do well. I think when we get to the summer months of The Odyssey, Spider-Man Brand New Day, Disclosure Day, Supergirl, that's going to be when things get really interesting at the box office, because not that we expect Disclosure Day or Supergirl to get anywhere close to $1 billion, but it's going to be very interesting to see how all of those movies are doing, because it really is going to be, we're going to have disappointments in the box office, or we're going to have movies are so bad. And it's probably not going to be getting anywhere in between, because there's going to be so many of these blockbusters that, like, if Spider-Man Brand New Day and The Odyssey both cross $1 billion, that probably means Supergirl and Disclosure Day did quite poorly at the box office, just because people don't have that much money. Or I'm wrong and movies are so back and Supergirl does 500, Disclosure Day does 200 to 300, Spidey does 1.5, Odyssey does $1 billion. Like, that would be awesome. But I'm scared that in the times we're living in, that just might not be possible anymore. But I do want to pivot to Disclosure Day next, because I watched these two trailers back to back, and it was so interesting to me how the Hail Mary one, and again, two totally different trailers. One is the final trailer, one is the first teaser. But the Hail Mary one was like, all right, this is the duo we want you to fall in love with. Here they are. Disclosure Day, I have no idea what the fuck this movie's about. And it made me want to see it more. I know it's Spielberg. Before seeing this trailer, I knew the title. I knew it was a Spielberg movie. I knew it was going to be sci-fi. And I thought it's probably alien related. After watching this trailer, I know the title. I know it's a Spielberg movie. I know it's sci-fi. And I'm still not positive, but I think it's alien related. And so I love a trailer that tells me nothing, but still manages to get me excited. Great looking cast on this one. Give me more Josh O'Connor at all times. Emily Blunt, I have fallen more and more in love with her with everything I've seen her in over the past couple of years. And we love big space sci-fi movies. Like, we like big stakes sci-fi movies. So this should be a ton of fun. Jam, I'll throw it to you first for this one. What were your thoughts watching the Disclosure Day trailer?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting. I'm kind of with you. Part of me feels like, is it even really aliens? Like, it feels like it might have religious themes, like aspects in it um, as well as like media consumption and all of this other stuff.
That, can we get deep for a second? Because that actually, to me, is the aspect of spirituality and religion that I find the most fascinating. Is everything we've ever been taught and talked about has only, and like, of course, because how could we know anything else, but it's only been about Earth. You know what I mean? Like, I've kind of had to try and wrap my head around that as like, to try and, I believe in God. And I don't need everybody to like lay out their beliefs and get real deep if they don't want to. But also, doors open if you want it. I believe in God, but what about the rest of the universe? You know what I mean? Like, if Jesus is real, if he sent his son to Earth, what about all the other planets with life throughout the galaxy? Because I know in our solar system, we're the only beings, right? But all the other stars that we can see, they have their own solar systems. They could be bigger than our sun. And that's only in our own galaxy. There's endless galaxies in the universe. So my headcanon, my religious headcanon, is that God is just like, all right, we're sending somebody to this planet now. As soon as they're done, we're going to the next one. As soon as they're done, we're going to the next one.
I want to
And
piggyback
that's
off that.
kind of how it's going, because it's like, why would they only pick Earth? Because I genuinely think I'm of the opinion that it's like obscenely close-minded to think there is not more life in the universe, because the universe is just too fucking big. It's too big. It's got to be somewhere. And so, if God's real, I think he is. What's he doing with all of those planets over there? What's going on? I'd love to hear their stories. But sorry, Jam, to cut you off. But that was the part of the trailer that I found the most fascinating, is like when religion and science fiction meld, because the world Earth isn't the only life-bearing planet in the universe. It can't be. And so what's going on over there? If there is one creator who created the universe, is it just like, is he sending somebody over there for now, sending some people over here to this one? Like, what's the deal? It's fascinating.
I'm with you. I want to piggyback off of some things you mentioned. So I also believe in God and Jesus and everything. And I have I don't like to give myself a specific religion that I tie myself to, right? I feel like I'm more spiritual. The theologian in me likes to study a little bit of everything. And
It's exactly how I feel too.
I had an earth science 8th grade teacher that blew my mind. I was young, I grew up Catholic, so that was like kind of where I was at in my life at that time. But he blew my mind. He was like, religious people, Bible, all of that stuff, they'll tell you that God created everything. He's like, scientists will tell you that the Big Bang created everything. Well, it's simple. How do we not know the Big Bang was God's way of creating everything? And so to piggyback off of what you said is like, Jesus was sent to Earth and then they go into I kind of like to different planets. I always look at it as, even on just Earth, that's how God came to us. That's why we have different religions amongst different cultures, because a lot of the same teachings and practices are similar. We just have different prophets who has seen God or has seen their prophet come to them, and it's like, this is the way of how to get to enlightenment, whether it's Buddha, Allah, which is at the end of the day God in Arabic. There's so many of the same teachings, just different. And so I've always looked at it as that, is like, maybe the same way you just mentioned, maybe not going to different planets after us, but at the same time, he's like, well, I'm gonna send a bunch of different people here.
And what is time? What is time in the universe? Is it all happening at the same time?
You feel me? So to bring it back to this trailer, I was like, man, this feels so much like Spielberg playing in the ballpark of sci-fi, but like religious elements to kind of merge the two and just create a bigger narrative, a bigger story. I think visually it looks insane. I'm not gonna lie, it looks fascinating. And I think we did see in the trailer like UFOs or something, like in the clouds. I was like, okay, this obviously is like alien-esque, but then you have the religious things, like with the animals walking up and then the light coming onto the girl. I don't know. It's just so fascinating. My biggest takeaway from that was eye stuff. And as an anime fan, when the eye changed, I was like, that's the Sharingan. I was like, immediately like Naruto Sharingan. I was like, that's the biggest takeaway I have.
Avatar State, baby.
I have no clue. Like, none of us really know what is this movie about. And I'm curious. I don't know if you guys either know, but did Spielberg also write this, or is this just him directing this?
I don't know.
This is an original IP, though, right? It's an original IP. Okay,
yeah.
okay. I mean, I feel like with Spielberg, every time he dives into like something like this, it's gonna be a knockout of the park. My only concern is what you mentioned earlier, TJ, is box office wise, because that is it's a summer release, right? It's like summertime release.
June.
Yeah, I think this one's getting cooked. I think this one's getting cooked at the box office. I don't think it's gonna do well.
That's my fear. That is my genuine fear because, like you mentioned, you got Spidey, you got the Odyssey, you got
He did
Supergirl. Like,
write the story for Disclosure Day.
interesting, interesting. And that's another thing. Like, do you have like our generation? Well, I don't know how old you guys are. I think you guys are all around my age, millennials aspects,
Mhm.
right? I'm not sure if our generation cares as much about Spielberg as we do about like Nolan or Ryan
Nolan,
Coogler or like you know what I mean? And
Tarantino.
even Tarantino and even Ryan Coogler is kind of like more up and coming like in the last decade and a half. So I feel like Spielberg is more like my sister's 43. That's like her generation type stuff.
Mm.
And like, so I don't know if they care enough to go see another Spielberg movie at their age. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so and that's not to like be ageist or anything like that. I just think that's the reality of the situation. Like, like to TJ's point, you don't like people don't got money nowadays to go see everything that they love or indulge in everything that they love. So this is a very interesting one. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna go see it as much as we all are, but
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how this does, box office wise and critically, to be quite honest.
Yeah, because it's not like Spielberg stuff has been all hits over the last decade either, and so definitely, I'm very excited for this one. I'm without a doubt going to see it on the big screen. But it is one of those things that, like, say I were to look at my bank account and go, it is only physically possible for me to go to 2 movies this summer. It's without a doubt Spider-Man: Brand New Day and The Odyssey. Nothing else comes close. Uh, I'm gonna go to Disclosure Day, but if I had to pick two, it's
Right.
definitely those two. Sean, what did you think of this trailer? How did it impact your excitement?
I love this show. I've been in since they said Spielberg UFO movie. And before, I think it was just called Disclosure. I think before the actual trailer, like no one really knew anything about it other than it was Spielberg UFO, and then the marketing started to roll out. And it's funny you guys did the religion thing because what I took from it was more political. Not saying that the religion overtones and stuff wasn't there either, but
I
I
think
think
that's
what
there
this
too.
movie, yeah, I think what this movie is actually about is the government hiding information. And the whole full disclosure is some like renegade, like rebel group trying to expose all this information about aliens and UFOs. I could be totally wrong, but that's kind of what I got from the trailer. And that's the only thing I can kind of pinpoint to what this movie actually is. But we'll see when we get there. It looks like it's going to be a ride. You make some very good points about the box office and how it's going to do. The age thing can sometimes work in its favor, like what we saw with Top Gun Maverick. Like it kind of hit all of the ages, and that's why it crushed. But I don't think this is the same kind of movie as Top Gun Maverick as far as like being like a crowd pleasing blockbuster. And I tried to look up a production budget. It seems like no one's reported on how much this movie cost. So that's another thing. But like you mentioned those things, if you have to see 2 movies and you left off Supergirl, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like that wouldn't even be the third on the list for most people, too. So that's hard. I guess if it gets word of mouth, like it's crazy because I was looking at there's one box office thing that happened this weekend that's boggling my mind. Wuthering Heights made 83 million worldwide this weekend.
Just
And the
some
reviews,
dreadful word of mouth alongside genuine competition at the box office. Shocking.
yeah, the reviews have been awful, like awful. And I know it's based on a book, but again, it's like book fandom only brings you so much. I know books are very
Well, and
popular
especially
right
because
now,
the
but
book
still.
readers are the ones saying it sucks.
Yeah.
I heard it's
Yeah.
very like misogynistic too. Like I have heard a lot of bad things about it. I'm not gonna lie.
It's kind of supposed to be like that,
Oh,
but
okay.
from what I've heard is still like the take of it seems like and that's why there's like quotes because it is very much like a retelling of the book and it's not like a faithful adaptation of the book. They took some things from it, and I know the big thing that people are very mad about is that they racially swapped the main male character, but the way they did it, I think they did in a way because if they did do that, it would probably be worse than it is now. I don't know. It's a whole thing, but there's things like that happens where like that made its production budget back in one weekend for a movie that we got. And usually if a movie gets
I
slammed in reviews, dead in the water, especially now in the last few years, dead. Unless it's
and
some,
I was gonna say too, like I mentioned Project Hail Mary is the first blockbuster, but I guess it's Wuthering Heights.
yeah, 80 million. That's a lot.
Like
I
it'll
did
cross
not, I thought it was
100
gonna be
now.
like 40. I thought it was gonna be like 40 million production budget or something. I was like,
The fact
80.
that it did like 48 million or whatever it was internationally was like,
Which is
oh,
crazy though, because like you said, there's so much competition. I really enjoyed the movie I mentioned earlier, Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. But you also have Crime 101 with a really great cast, right?
Great
and
reviews.
that's had some
Great
great
reviews.
reviews as well.
And Goat
Send Help
with a
great reviews.
oh, I loved Send Help. But that was last. This is the second weekend or third weekend now.
But it's still in the
But it's
theater.
still
you know what I mean?
going,
Like,
right?
And
it
got
only
Goat
had an
and Marty
8%
Supreme
drop.
still in the theater.
8%
Send Help
drop.
only had
Send Help.
8% drop.
That's crazy.
And then the animation movie from Sony,
Goat.
Goat.
Oh, Go. Yeah.
As a basketball fan, I'm like, dang, I gotta find time to see that, man. Like, it has a lot of competition. So the fact that you got like Wuthering Heights is 80 million is a lot of money right now.
Yeah.
It really is. Speaking of hefty competition, let's dive into the next one, which is Supergirl. This was not a full trailer. This was just a short little teaser. A lot of footage we've already seen before, but the biggest focus is we get baby Crypto. And shout out our guy AF in chat. That's something we, I think, are underestimating and didn't bring up. The Margot Robbie pull is legit. Margot Robbie is at the point where it's like she's gonna pull a little bit of box office since Barbie, I think. That kind of
do we remember the movie that came out last year that died and no one saw, that had her and Colin Farrell in it?
No.
Big Bold Beautiful Journey was also a Sony movie, came out last year. You don't even remember it. That's all
I didn't even hear about that.
So then you need Margot Robbie with IP.
I guess, yeah.
Now, and Birds of Prey did well, but that one, as much as I love that movie, that one had one of the most dreadful marketing campaigns I have ever seen in my entire life, changing the title of the movie halfway through, and like it just that I like that movie, but from a marketing, post-production, even pre-production standpoint of like the writer wanted to actually make the fate, like we don't have to get into it, but like what's the Jam, help me out. What's the
Cassandra Cain?
Cassandra, yeah, exactly.
Like, that's what I was about to say. As a comic fan, what they did to her, bruh.
Yeah, and the writers wanted to make Cassandra Cain comic accurate, and then they were like, "Nah, no, you can't do that."
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think they made a great movie based on all the ingredients that they were given in that one. But I feel like post Barbie, you get some IP attached to Margot, and it's gonna do pretty well now. I think is the lesson I'm learning from Wuthering Heights. But let's talk about Supergirl. This is a short little teaser. We get the sweetest, cutest little baby Crypto. Sweet boy. Gonna bring the dog lovers into the theater. That's gonna be the one thing. Like the two movies that I think most interested in their box office performance this year are Supergirl, because I think it's just very interesting to see like how much did Superman didn't blow away the box office, but a lot of people love that movie, and it's going to have I think a lot of positive word of mouth pushing into Supergirl here. And I think it'll be a little bit of all right, DCEU, what do you got for us? Like, what staying power do you have in a year that we have Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday? What's Supergirl going to do? And I think the dog lovers are going to bring a lot of people into this because of the crypto-heavy marketing campaign we have already gotten. And I think that's only going to get ramped up and up and up and up as we get closer to the movie. And the other one is the Mandalorian and Grogu. One, because of the first Star Wars we've gotten in a really long time. And that's another one where everything about how this movie is getting thrown together, it makes me feel like it's not going to do good. Like the entirety of the Star Wars fandom is down on it, it seems like, and it's just very much wait, this is our return to Star Wars, just basically a season of The Mandalorian, but in the movie theater. Sure, I'll go see it. I'm sure I'll like it a little bit, but like we even had Star Wars in a decade. Give us something big, give us a return. But kids love Grogu, and kids drive the box office. They really, really do. Families and children drive that box office, and kids love Grogu. And so that's another one that I do think might overperform expectations a little bit. But Jam, I'll throw it to you first for Supergirl. We don't have to talk about this trailer much because it was short, But what were your thoughts on our cute little baby crypto tease? Is the little girl that Kara is talking to a character from comics? That was the other thing I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, that's the girl that's like she goes on this like main journey with throughout the comic story, Woman of Tomorrow. As far as the trailer though, I put it in the chat on Twitter. I feel like James Gunn just has this effect. Any CGI creature, he got it. He just throws them in every movie and it works. From Scooby Doo to Rocket to Eagly to now Crypto and Superman and Supergirl. It's just there. He just has it. I can't wait. I think it's gonna pull at a lot of heartstrings, like you said, with the animal lovers, especially the dog lovers. AF put it in the chat. Yeah, Ruthie is the girl's name in the book. I think he said it also where he said, yeah, AF said I could see what they're doing with crypto and I'm not okay. I'm not okay. You know, I think this is gonna be one of those ones that really hits at home for a lot of people. And
After Guardians of the Galaxy. Now I understand this movie was not written by James Gunn. This is not directed by James Gunn, but that first trailer, we got the Gunn vibes. We got the Gunn vibes from it with the music and just the way that trailer was laid out. After Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I think we all got some PTSD.
yeah. 100%. 100%.
Sean, what do you think of this little teaser we got here?
Baby Crypto is not in the comics though, so that was a cool surprise. And I was like, I love him so much, I would die for him. That's what I thought. I do think it's very smart leaning into the crypto for the marketing, and I believe this teaser came out during the Puppy Bowl. Genius,
yeah,
genius way to go about it. But I felt like they made a little bit of a misstep with the first trailer and only giving that weird little glimpse of Lobo, and then them having to do that like special spot after to be like, yeah, here's more Lobo. Like I feel like they should be leaning into that as heavy as crypto, because Jason Momoa, people love Jason Momoa, people have been wanting this casting, and now that it's here, I feel like they should be showing it off a little bit more, especially since that's a new part that wasn't in the comic either. So we'll see. That I am very like interested to see how this movie does as well, because they've only slightly hinted the darkness and seriousness of this story, which it really does have, which again is also kind of a Gun thing where he has this funny, playful, larger than life movie, but at its core is this really emotional, dramatic center. And that's what the Woman of Tomorrow is. It is very kind of like larger than life and space opera kind of thing, but it is a very dark, depressing story, which they've only hinted at, and I think only people that have read it can kind of pull out those little threads they've been teasing. So I think it's going to hit people in a insanely different way, and I'm sure we might get like a final trailer that might hint more of the story, maybe, possibly. We'll see. I'm okay if they kind of leave it and just kind of totally slap people in the face once they get to the theaters and be like, oh, this is not what I was expecting. But I'm already excited for this movie. I already was. Millie Alcock is incredible, and I think she's like perfectly cast for this role. And I'm really excited to see what she brings to that side that we've only seen glimpses of. Because everyone's like, oh, the drunk party girl, we've seen that a million times. I'm like, that's not what this is. That's not what this is. That is to cover up for all the trauma she's faced. So,
and not even just like the drunk party girl of it, but I feel like we don't get to see I'm so excited to see Millie Alcock as Supergirl, because I don't feel like we, in comic book projects, get the messy female protagonist as often. You know what I mean? Like, they'll have their battles, their traumas like everybody else, but that's often reserved for male characters, where it's the Tony Stark, Star-Lord-esque of like, I can be a bit of a dirtbag, but you're going to fall in love with me and I'm the hero. And that's kind of what I get from Kara. And it's going to be driven from grief, and it's going to be driven from loss. But her energy that we see at the end of Superman, and just in these little teasers that we have gotten so far, I love it. I love it so much. Like, that is what is drawing me to this movie more than anything else. She's just fucking cool. She's really, really cool. And it's somebody that I would want to be friends with. It's somebody that I want to watch on TV. Like, that's kind of what it comes down to for me, is it's like, damn, she's a badass and I'm in. She's a badass and I'm in. is essentially what that one comes down to. I'm going to skip the direction of, actually no, let's keep it superhero. Let's talk about Spider-Noir yet next. Go to television instead of movies. Like I mentioned, this is one that kind of was totally off my radar of things coming out this year. Like, we're going to cover this on the podcast, and I didn't even consider it in my planning for the early part of the year because I just kind of forgot it existed. Nicolas Cage in the spider suit just seemed like, I love Nicolas Cage and I love Spider-Man. It just felt off to me. I didn't know how they were going to pull something like this off in live action. Looks really fucking good. It looks really fucking good. Sean, what were your thoughts on the Spider-Man Noir trailer? What stood out to you? Geeky AF pointing out in chat that Ben Reilly reveal was interesting. Wasn't he Peter Parker in the Spider-Verse movies? He was, right? And so
yeah, I believe it's alternate universe. It's a different version of Spider-Noir, I'm thinking, which is probably the cleanest way to explain it, because obviously,
or it's just the Clone Saga, or we're getting full Clone Saga in the Spider-Noir universe. And
I don't think so. I do not think so. People hate that.
It's he thought he was Peter Parker before, and now he's Ben Reilly.
I think it's just a nice way to differentiate the character in general, and just
especially with a brand new day coming out.
Yeah, there's a million Peter Parkers. Like, you know, like it's fine to have its own thing, and then this way it doesn't need to connect to the movies, because obviously Spider-Noir is coming back in the third one. Like, I think it's just a clean break away from that. When they first announced this, I was like, I don't know about this. I was like, it'd be sick if they get Nicolas Cage. There's no way they're going to get Nicolas Cage for this. Then Nicolas Cage got announced, and that was after the fact that Lord and Miller were announced as being producers and being a part of the production. I was like, okay, now I have way more faith in this. This would actually be something really cool, because as we've known, everything that's live action Spider-Man related, that's not Spider-Man centric, has been absolute garbage. So when you think of it at first, you're like, but once that information was laid out, I was like, okay, maybe this can be really cool. And this trailer also really surprised me as well. I totally forgot that they filmed this with the intent of it being in black and white, which is definitely the way I'm going to be watching it. But usually when things are filmed and then shown in black and white, like WandaVision and stuff like that, they're filmed in color, turned black and white later, which is weird, because that's why you get the weird cursed image of like blue vision, because red doesn't show up as well when you turn something into black and white. So they had to film it a different way for when they did change it to black and white. It looks correct. So with this, they filmed it, but they had two different outputs. So one output comes black and white, one output comes color. And that's why there's two different versions. I'm sure they're doing that for people who are hung up over the fact of watching something in black and white for whatever reason, which is insane to me, but that's how people are. I'll definitely be watching the black and white because it looks so crisp and so clean. I mean, the color looks great too, but definitely going to watch this in black and white. But I'm super stoked for this. The other thing I'm bummed about is they're dropping it all at once. And I get, again, just like movie side, TV side, there's a lot going on at all times. I'm just wondering if this is going to get lost in the conversation, if it coming out in one fell swoop, and then people are talking about it for like a week and then it's gone from the zeitgeist, especially with the spring and summer we have in TV, especially in the superhero genre category. So that's my biggest worry with it, is that it's going to get lost in translation. And I don't know if this is planned for a limited series, if they want to do more seasons, and if that depends on how well it does on streaming. I have no clue, but I'm very excited for it. It looks great, honestly.
I think so much depends on like the storytelling style within the show, but I don't mind the binge for this because I don't think it would have stolen the conversation. I don't think it would have taken the conversation in a weekly release, like just because I'm not entirely sure Amazon has the juice for that yet. You know what I mean? Like Fallout Net is one of their biggest shows. It never really stole the weekly conversation, even though they dropped it weekly this time. And same with The Boys. In the circle of people who love The Boys, yeah, the conversation is popping from week to week when those episodes drop, but it's not like it's a monoculture thing. And I feel like Spider-Noir, sorry, I always want to call it Spider-Man Noir, but it's just Spider-Noir. I kind of feel like this is one that people might want to binge and then go, oh shit, did you guys see that creepy Spider-Man show on Amazon? Like, I think it, with just the sheer volume of, especially volume of superhero related stuff that Amazon has coming with The Boys and Invincible, I almost feel like it might get its moment more with a binge, because I don't know if it would have the stamina to pull everybody in for a weekly conversation on it. What do you think, Jam?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you on that, TJ. It kind of reminds me of like Wonder Man. Like, I don't know if Wonder Man would have did great on a weekly aspect opposed to the binge model. I didn't think anything of this when I first heard it. Like, to Sean's point, when it first was announced, I was just like, okay, more Sony Spidey stuff. I'm out. But I'm already out Spidey regardless. Like, the only thing that's keeping me in the Spider-Man realm is the movie and the Spider-Man 2 video game that came out, 2024 or something like that. I'm already on the peak of, in comics and all other mediums, including the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I am Spider-Man out. I'm done. I think he's a bum. I am tired of the retelling of him. I can't deal with no more. And Into the Spider-Verse.
I think you're a bum.
I'm tired, man. I'm so tired of Spider-Man. I'm so tired. He's 40 years of the same storytelling over and over. I'm just tired. So when this was out, I was like, again, more Sony stuff. Then, like Sean's point, they added the creators and stuff of Into the Spider-Verse, and I was like, okay, that's intriguing. Nick Cage, I was like, okay, but I'm still just not invested. I think it looks good, and I will be also watching it in black and white. I think I was more so dumbfounded at how great it looks in color, though. I was like, this is kind of wild. It looks pretty solid in color. But I'm gonna watch it in black and white just because I feel like that's the essence of Spider-Noir character. I feel like I want to get that true essence of it. I don't expect much from it. I don't honestly even expect another. I'm hoping they don't go with another season at this point. Like, I feel like it should just be a one and done thing. And with maybe at the end it has some funny ties to Beyond the Spider-Verse. I doubt that, but I'm kind of just like, if it is what it is with this one, it's just more cape shit. Like, that's how I literally feel when it comes to Spider-Noir.
I bet you we get a post-credit scene with Spider-Ham.
Oh,
Spider-Ham
that
cameo.
would be good.
That would be awesome.
That's my prediction, is we're getting Spider-Ham at some point in this show. We're switching over to the animated side of things, which is, of course, where we first saw Spider-Noir in Into the Spider-Verse. I want to talk about Hoppers, because with, Toy Story 5 coming out this year, plus a bunch of other animated stuff as well, Hoppers was kind of easily forgotten about for me. But this trailer looked delightful. This trailer, like when they dropped that Missy Elliott beat and have the little critter hopping around, like, I thought that was really funny. This looks like a good, fun, classic Pixar movie. I don't know that I get to it in theaters because my daughter's not old enough to get to theaters yet. And there's just so many other great movies coming out this year that if my wife and I get some time to get out of the house and go to a movie theater, it's probably not going to be for Hoppers. So we'll just wait till it hits streaming. But I am still excited to watch it. Jam, what do you think of the Hoppers trailer?
This looks fun. This is something I probably would want to go see with my niece. And she's 12. I really think this is going to be good. Again, anything animals or like creatures is always like aliens, creatures, little robots, whatever. Like, I feel like that's just a good gimmick to get on families, right? I mean, look at what Zootopia just did. Zootopia 2, excuse me. I mean, right? Like, so I feel like this. I don't want to say this is gonna do just as well, but I think the whole message thing is kind of very I don't want to say informative, but like kind of like to what you were saying earlier, Sean, about like it's a little political here with like infiltration and all of that stuff. I feel like they could spin that, because that's one thing I've always loved with Disney Pixar movies, is that there's always a very deep message for us as adults to grasp, and then fun stuff for the kids. So I feel like there might be something along those lines with that. But it looks just like a good time. It looks like fun. I love like you said, the needle drop with Missy Elliott. I was like, okay, this is going to be good. So I think it's going to be more funny than anything. That's pretty much it for me. I think it's just going to be a good time. I will go see this in theaters though. It's one of those I feel like I need to go see in theaters. Sometimes I think I feel like with Zootopia 2, with Goat, I think there's sometimes I need just like that I need to revisit that kid in me in the movies. And so I think this is one of those ones where it's like, all right, this is gonna make me feel like that kid again when I go to see it.
Reminder to everyone needs to watch Frozen 2 to learn about why colonialism is wrong and how to engage in reconciliation. Sean, what do you think about Hoppers?
Yeah, it looks fun. This one, kind of like what we were talking about, this doesn't really give anything away other than they have a machine, and I love the Avatar joke, a machine that puts them into this robotic animal that they can communicate with the animals with. And from one of the lines, they're like, "Oh, you can't interfere." It seems like they're doing it for research purposes. So I'm kind of wondering what the thing is. My big theory with the main girl who ends up going into the thing is that her parents probably tragically die in the first 5 minutes of the movie because it's a Pixar movie, and that's why she's rushing into this thing, and it'll be a big thing like that. Hate to bring it down, but have you seen any Pixar movie? The first
But then
10
she
minutes
finds out her parents are actually animals. She meets
no, she
her
finds a
real
new
parents.
family with the animals. Come on,
Yeah, it'll be found family. It'll be found family.
get out of here. And then she stays and becomes an animal. So it's Avatar, but probably better.
Is she like? Oh, so that was I didn't get that. It's a robot creature, right? Like it's like
Yeah.
a robot animal. Yo, that's gonna be crazy. She stays as a robot.
I feel like that's too close to Avatar and she won't, but we'll see. I don't know. It's right there. Okay. I don't know. It's either going to go one way or the other, obviously.
Sean, you wrote this up on agentsofandom.com as one of your most anticipated movies of 2026. Talk to me about the adventures of Cliff Booth. I thought it was going to be more of a trailer and not just like almost like a, well, what's the word I'm looking for? Where just like a reel where you just get a bunch of different things stitched together. Anyways, I can't remember the word that I'm thinking of, but I thought it was going to be more than just like a bunch of small footage clips weaved together of like crazy shit. But it didn't get me any more excited for this movie, but it was like, I'm going to see it anyway.
Yeah, I didn't know this was coming. So it was a big surprise for me that we were getting anything from this movie in the Super Bowl. So I was like, oh, cool, let's go. Obviously, there was kind of like this big void with the Super Bowl trailers this year when like, nope, no Marvel trailers. So that became a very interesting thing of like what was going to come out during this. And I think it let other things like Project Hail Mary shine and stuff like this. I did like how cheeky it was. And I do love that like half of everything was censored. And I love how it just like scribbles over stuff. Like naked people in the background just scribbles over it. People swearing, scribbles over their mouth with the bleep. I thought that was really fun and great. And because obviously this movie is going to be very rated R, like anything Tarantino writes pretty much is. And I love that David Fincher is directing it. And I just like Brad Pitt won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for playing this character in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I think it's so cool that we're getting this weird kind of sequel is a sequel, but it's not a sequel, and it's bringing him to the forefront. I think Brad Pitt is in this like crazy, I don't even want to say renaissance because it's not like he ever went away, but what he's doing later in his career, I think is so
further
incredible.
Proof that there's just like has never actually been any type of cancel culture that it has existed. Because anytime there's stuff that comes out about people that are like, hey, wow, so this guy's actually terrible. They just go away for a year, come back, and nobody remembers.
Wait, who are you talking about?
Brad Pitt. I think it's dependent. So that is, I will say, I feel like that's dependent a lot of the time on race and gender, though. I think for somebody
Something
like Jonathan,
bad happened with Brad Pitt?
Yes. Terrible stuff.
Yeah, when his divorce proceedings with Angelina Jolie came out, there was a lot of really ugly abuse stuff.
Oh,
even his kids come out and it's like, yo, like we don't want to talk with our dad ever in our life.
Yeah, I don't think like he has like I don't think
I
knew him.
Yeah, but I do think to your point, TJ, I do think it's dependent on race and gender because I mean you got stuff with like Jonathan Majors, which like he's gone, it's over. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to cut you off. Sorry, Sean.
No, you're good. Yeah, I literally had no idea about any of this stuff. I mean, the dude's been he didn't even go away
ever.
He didn't stay quiet. He was in
Ever.
an Oscar-nominated movie last week or last year. What are you talking about? He didn't go.
Yeah,
anywhere.
no, this was like probably like 5 years ago now.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
because don't judge me. I actually didn't see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So this
I saw it for
trailer,
the first time like 3 months ago.
though made me like, I was like, this looks good. And then I seen it on Twitter. It was like, oh, it's a sequel to that. I was like, oh, I gotta watch that because this looks good.
Oh yeah. Once
I'm
Upon a Time in
typically
Hollywood is
not
awesome.
someone who enjoys a movie that's not very plot focused. Like it's a very character focused movie as opposed to like there's a point A and we're trying to get to a point B. It's not really that at all. And typically those movies I don't like as much as a lot of other people do. But I don't actually enjoy Tarantino as much as most other people do either. But I really liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I'm with you on that. I'm not a big Tarantino fan either, but I get it.
I'm a massive Tarantino fan.
As a filmmaker, not a guy. Another one of those guys that's like, why are you the worst?
I just think he's a douchebag, but it's
Mhm.
so weird because everything he says, he like kind of backs it up. And I hate that he's like singling out these actors and saying they're bad. I think that's just weird behavior, but he's just a weird guy. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing ever. And then I hear stuff like my friend has a Tarantino podcast and he got invited by him to fly out and see the whole bloody affair, which is both Kill Bills cut into one at Tarantino's theaters and interviewed Tarantino when all those tidbits of Tarantino came out a few months ago. That was from my friend's podcast. And like he literally got personally invited and he's like, yeah, I love your podcast. Of course he loves a podcast that's solely about him. That's the type of guy he is. But at the same time, I'm like,
podcasts on his feed are just like about his movies. Beat. That's it. Just like those two, one after another.
Yes, 1,000%. But yeah, and I kind of like that he's cheating because he's been on record. He's like he's only going to direct 10 movies, and now he has this kind of like weird out where he can write movies, doesn't need to direct them. And I think it's just what he's going to start doing. And if we get more screenwritten Tarantino plays with incredible directors, I am here for it. I don't care what his 10th movie is. Take all the time you want. If you're going to do stuff like this in the time being,
I feel like that's the thing. He's going to have fans like waiting forever. And then it's going to be that monumental moment where it's like the last film and it's going to go bananas. Like, I think it's going to be one of those moments.
And his movies, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, crushed in the box office.
I mean, Kill Bills are fucking good. I'm not gonna sit here and act like Kill Bills aren't great. Like we can't. Come on.
There was a great Kill Bill homage in Jujutsu Kaisen this season.
I can't help but look at him weird just from the fact that he'll like write a scene where he's berating Samuel L. Jackson's character, dropping a bunch of N-bombs, and then cast himself in that role to read those lines. It's off to me. It just makes me go, why do you want to do this so bad, man? Why do you want to do this?
Like the Salma Hayek thing.
That's like,
I get it.
I'm not a foot guy, but I mean, who among us wouldn't like to lick Salma Hayek's? I don't know where I'm going with this, but just like, why are you writing this in for yourself, man? I don't know. I don't trust it. But alas, that'll do it for this week's trailer breakdown episode. We'll, of course, be back tomorrow talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu as they're expected to drop their full trailer tomorrow, 3 p.m. for that one, Eastern time, same exact time. Jam and I will be back. Sean's busy. I think we're going to get Damon back for that one. Maybe we'll see if we can get one of our Reckless Rebels friends to join us as well, since it is a Star Wars project. But that'll do it. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. You can follow us on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us on socials at Agents Fandom, on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. In addition to our Mando and Grogu trailer podcast this week, we'll be talking about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms next week. And then we will, of course, have Paradise beginning the week following after that. And we have, or next week. Is it next week comes out or the week after? I know Embargo's next week. I don't remember. I think it's the 23rd. It's Monday the 23rd. It comes out. So we're 1 week away from Paradise. So we'll be next week talking about that on, I believe, Tuesday nights. We said we're gonna do our Paradise pod. Invincible's coming, Daredevil's coming, Project Hail Mary's coming. A lot of great stuff. Stay tuned. Sean, where can the people find you on socials? What do you have coming up on the pod?
Metalcore Nerds on all socials. If that's too hard for you, metalcorenerds.com. You can find all the links there. Coming out with the singer of the metalcore band Devil Wears Prada. Have an episode coming out tomorrow, so make sure you go check that out. We go deep dive into books, into what he's watching TV wise, and some pop culture stuff, kind of dealing with the band and their new album. New episodes every Tuesday, Monday on adobe.com. So go check it out there. Trying to build YouTube. Go subscribe on YouTube, watch on YouTube, like, comment, all that stuff. Do that there. Thanks.
In 2025, this is just a crazy thing that popped up on my feed. On 2025, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, Mackenzie Scott, gave away more to philanthropic causes than Elon Musk. I don't know who Page is, but another billionaire. Larry Ellison, Jeff Bezos have in their entire lives combined.
Oof.
So last year, she donated more money than the 4 richest people in the world have in their entire lives combined. Shout out to Mackenzie Scott. That's kind of cool. I feel like usually when billionaires are given big donations, it's just for tax break purposes. But apparently in the last 7 years, she has donated $26 billion, including $7.2 billion last year. So that's kind of cool. Shout out that. Anyways, Jam, where can the people find you on socials? What do you have coming up on the pod?
Yeah, you can check me out, Jam Session on all socials. Just replace the E with an X in session. And you can check out my pod on YouTube exclusively, Journey Across Media. My next pod episode will be coming out Friday, where I'm actually doing my first, because again, we journey across media. So I'm doing my first podcast about music. We're going to review and talk about J. Cole's latest album, The Fall Off. And kind of everything that's been going on with that. He had actually just put out today the tour, the world tour that he's doing. The pre-sale tickets will go out tomorrow, US, and then internationally on Wednesday. Got a lot of things coming on my pod as well. The Night Agent season 3 is dropping on Thursday, TJ. This Thursday, actually, on the 19th. And on the following week, like you mentioned, Paradise, but we also have Monarch Legacy of Monsters Season 2 coming back. So those are some of the shows I will be pretty much talking about, along the things like we mentioned, Daredevil, Invincible, Cross Season 2, Hijack, and all of my anime stuff. Sean, now that I know that you are watching Jujutsu Kaisen, I might have to have you over for... Oh, but you're watching it in dubbed, right? God, it's okay. It's okay. We'll get you on for something, though. But soon...
I'm behind.
It's okay. Knights of the Seven Kingdom will be probably my next episode, though, since that finale will be this coming Sunday. So that's what I got. Journey Across Media on YouTube, and Jam Session. Just replace the E with an X on all other socials.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in today, everybody. We appreciate you. Hit the like button on your way out, and we will see you next time. On behalf of myself, Sean, and Jam, peace.